Hey y'all, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Thank you guys for joining another Love Talks with the Garcons. I am Irvin's Garcon. No response. I am alone tonight, guys. I am alone tonight. I am alone tonight. Thank you guys for joining nonetheless. Hopefully everybody's doing good. What's going on, my brother Junior? Junior is watching. Junior is on the stream. Do us a favor, y'all. As you guys are coming in, please go ahead and share the live with at least 5 people. We definitely want them to come on and take part of this conversation I'm going to be having tonight. A very, very important conversation that I don't feel like we have enough or as often enough. Just like anything that has to do with men, we just don't talk. So tonight we have a really, really great, great, great episode, a great conversation that we're going to be partaking in and conversing about. That we definitely want to make sure that all the men are here, but also, ladies, this conversation is for you because you have to learn how to deal with us men as you relate to this conversation. So, as you are coming in, please go ahead and share the live with at least 5 people. Copy the link and share it in your group text. Send it to your cousins, your auntie, your uncle, and them, cousin Boo Boo who just need to hear this. We want to free some people on tonight. So as you guys are coming in, we do ask that you guys share the live. It's still gonna be good. It's still gonna be lit. We're still gonna have fun. I have a special guest that's gonna be coming on. We have some men talk about some really, really important information. Just because N is not next to me, don't mean that it's not gonna be great. Because I am the life of the party, and the life of the party is here. So go ahead and just share the live with some people so we could get this thing started. I hope you guys are having a great week. In educator world, we are on that countdown, waiting for things to be done, and I am so excited about summer. I have a cruise coming up in July. Guess what I did? The cruise is July 13th. Guess what I did today? On May 29th, I checked in. I did my check-in today, guys. That's how ready I am for to get on this cruise to just go and enjoy and have a blast with my family, some friends, and some other couples. It's gonna be really really dope. What's good, little bro? What's up, Kev? I hope you're doing okay. Thank you for joining, bro. My little brother over here. Share this with the outside boys, Kev. The outside boys probably need to hear some of this information. Um, so by the way, as you guys could see, some housekeeping rules, some announcements. Coming up in June, we are actually going to be having a really, really, really dope, awesome webinar that we're gonna launch, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. But for you to be in the know, it's gonna be very intimate. It's gonna be very exclusive. And for you to be the first one to get that information, I do ask you all to just go into our website, which is www.gcventures.org, and join our mailing list because like I said, we our lives is open for everybody. Everybody join the lives, but for this particular webinar, you want to make sure it's really intimate. So those of you guys right now who are watching, and we'll keep announcing it, join the mailing list so you're able to get the information directly be sent to you. All right, join the mailing list so that you can get the information to be sent directly to you. And while you are on the website, feel free to go to our merch store where you can get yourself some cool merch. Right? Do you guys like my hat? This is a Love Talks trucker hat that you can actually get on our website right now, along with some other things, and it will be greatly appreciated. All right. So we're not going to waste too much time because, as you all know, people tend to be late. You're late to a virtual event. That's crazy to me. But nonetheless, we're about to go ahead and get it started. I see the count is going up and down. So just keep sharing it, y'all. Keep sharing the live as we go ahead and get into this topic tonight. And our topic tonight, it's something that I feel like I said before, we don't talk enough about. And if we did talk about it, it'll be the launching point of a lot of people's deliverance or or freedom or being freeing, right? We're gonna talk about the impact of trauma, and it's gonna be from a male perspective. But ladies, please feel free to chime in the comment. We definitely want to make sure we are hearing from you. Definitely want to talk about how trauma impact men in every single aspect of our lives and who we are, right? For those of you guys who missed the live the other day, me and my wife, we were having a pretty interesting conversation that I did not realize that the issue that we were having or the moment that we were having, I did not realize that it was due to my own trauma. Now, even for myself, I try not to use the word trauma too much because sometimes I feel like, dang, do you really suffer from trauma? But who's to say the different degrees of what trauma looks like, right? It's there. We just have to acknowledge it and we just have to live with it and we just have to face it head on, right? Hey, Ruthlyn, good evening. Thanks for joining, sis. Hopefully, all is well with you. We appreciate you always tuning in, one of our faithful. We appreciate you. So, during the course of Ann and I's conversation, um, I came to realize we were talking about the fact that I'm not very super romantic or super emotional with her. And I realized that that in itself was coming from a place of trauma that, again, I didn't really think that was the case. But nonetheless, it was that situation, right? And so they had your boy on this live crying, y'all.
Hey,
Crazy.
It's not. I'm on live, yo. What the hell?
it's okay, babe.
Yeah.
So I'm often very look at Nene. Get out of here.
It's okay. Right now, it is okay to cry. Guys, he hardly ever cries. So, like, this is probably like a real
So I
sense
say
of
all that to
healing
say maybe
from
there
you.
is a degree of being uncomfortable and not being natural to do the things you ask me to do.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that was definitely cringy. Why did I share that again? I don't know. I'm embarrassing myself. It was a cringy moment that it was stemming from a place of my own trauma, right? That I need to deal with. And we were talking about why is it so hard for me to be affectionate, overtly expressive with Anne, and I was realizing that no, actually no, we were talking about why it was so hard for me to be that with my mom and my other relatives, and how it impacts my relationship now. So it's a small degree of trauma, but trauma is trauma. So it is what it is. Thank you, bro. What's good, Bruno? Thanks for pulling up. Again, guys, I want to get into this conversation with my bro today. But I definitely want to make sure no one is missing out on this conversation. So as you're coming in, please go ahead and do share the live. And I'm gonna show you guys one more video clip before I bring Shad in. I was getting ready for this live today, and I felt like this was such an appropriate um, video to share with you guys. So let's share this, and then I'll bring my our guest on tonight. All right. So here we go. It's talking about this is how trauma is holding you back.
Discovered is that it's very difficult. What I have discovered is that it's very difficult to say that you will be able to become the highest version of yourself in your finances, in your health, in your wealth, in your joy, in your relationships by holding on to any trauma. Because there's trauma that you're aware of, and then there's trauma that you have no idea even exists yet. So then let's deal with the stuff that you're aware of. The stuff that you were aware of, in this case, you're aware of what happened. We have a choice. It's either A, we let go, or B, we hold on. That's easier said than done. That's the beginning of it. So like for me, it was like, if I hold on to this story that my mom didn't love me or know how to love me, and that my dad wasn't around, what is that going to mean inside of me? What I have discovered is that it's very difficult to say that you will be able to become the highest version of your.
That was deep. That was deep. That was heavy, and it gave us a lot to think about, right? All right, so guys, let's go ahead and get started. I want to bring on my bro, my I think my little bro. I think I'm older than Shad. Is he older? I don't know. It's my bro, whether older or younger. This is a really good friend of mine. We're known each other for years. It's been very instrumental in a lot of things that we're doing right now. And Shad has a really, really, really tremendous passion when it comes to trauma and especially in men, which is again, this is not a space. This is not something that is talked about enough. And so, me and him, we're gonna have a conversation about this tonight. This is why I want you guys to share this live as we have this discussion. So, guys, help me welcome to Love Talks to the Garcon, some men's perspective tonight. What the ladies are welcome. My bro, Shad Belloni, or Coach Shad, as he is known. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm good, bro. How are you?
Nous vivons, man. We live, we're alive, and we live, bro. That's all we can say. That's all we can say.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for pulling up on the live tonight, bro. I really appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has coached millions, speaking into existence prophetically. He's a coach to the stars. Uh, and with Diddy's current situation, Diddy's about to call him, try to get out of it.
I
That's cap. I don't think you want to take that call anyway.
don't know if I want to take that one.
What's going on, Shad? How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
We're here. We're here. We're here. We excited about this conversation tonight. Tell the people a little bit about you, who you are, your family, your background, and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Coach Shad is at the bottom, but a lot of people know me by Sadirak, which is my Haitian government name.
Wait,
But
can we talk about that though? 1 second. You got two brothers.
yes,
What are your brothers' names, bro?
Meshach Abednego. I had to say it in Creole. Sadirak Meshach Abednego. But yes, my father was a preacher. My father was a preacher.
And just say, yo, he's serious? Yeah.
Yes, I'm dead serious.
Shad is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
I'm
His
Sadrach.
parents literally named them after the three Hebrew boys, yo. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have my older brother Sam. I feel like his name should have been Daniel,
Oh my
but
God.
it's Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are my two younger brothers. I'm Sadrach, and yeah, older brother Sam. But
Is anybody named Nebuchadnezzar in your
yeah,
family?
not that I know of.
Or King Darius?
Not that I know of.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. But yeah,
So your parents were safe, bro.
and with that, even in a safe family, there's a lot of trauma that came along with that, man.
Oh wow.
There's no such thing as a perfect family or perfect grown up, especially if you grew up Haitian.
Mm.
Or I'm not even gonna say just Haitian. If you grew up Caribbean, there's a lot of trauma. But yeah, been known to, I've been coaching people for a while, but never officially. Like people always came to me for advice. So a lot of people used to call me the Haitian Dr. Phil at
Mm.
one point. It wasn't until probably about a year and a half ago, I was at a retreat with my current coach, which is ET, the
E.T.
Dr. Eric Thomas, ET, the hip hop preacher. And it was like during the conference, we were trying to figure out what our gifts are. And he was asking, like, what are you good at? I'm like, yeah, people come to me for advice. He's like, okay, so you've been coaching everybody for free. It's like, just make it official. Just start coaching people. Just get your certification. So I'm doing it now. I got certified in the flight assessment, which you've experienced as well.
Yeah.
And there's a few other certifications I'm doing. But yeah, absolutely. I'm out there, have a passion to teach what I've survived, what I've been through, and what I'm able to help others to go through. So that's why I'm so passionate about men, because I want to be that person. Like I want to be who I didn't have when I was going through what I was going through. So I want to be that for another brother or another group of men. So that's what I do.
I hear you, bro. Talk to us about your beautiful family that you and I think it's relevant to talk about this part about your family now, right? Because given your background, what you've been able to establish as a father, as a husband, technically speaking, survey says, ding, it shouldn't have been the case. So before we get into that part, just talk about your family right now, your nucleus
Absolutely.
that the Lord's been entrusted you with.
This year is gonna make it 15 years since I've been married to my better half. 15 years.
Come on, y'all. Show some love in the chat for 15 years. It's not 15
Uh,
days.
yeah, 15 years. Three beautiful children, twin girls, Emily and Elizabeth, and my big boy Elijah, who carries my father's name, Elijah Sony. So that's, man, blessed. Best thing that ever happened to me, man. Yo, I was just telling a friend of mine. I have to throw a Jay-Z quote out there. He says, "A man who doesn't take care of his family can't be rich." So
Right.
the fact that I have a good family and my number one goal is to take care of a man, when it comes to that, I'm rich and I'm blessed.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So somebody actually told me that too. I've learned this whole concept of wealth and riches. How it's recently, not recently, when a couple of years ago, people have been telling me it's all about family, right?
It is.
When it comes to wealth, being rich, it's all about family because you can have all the money in the world, the
Mm-hmm.
love of family. I don't think you could beat that. To be quite honest with you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and when we get into the conversation, we'll talk about us as men. We're naturally born providers, right? We have to work to provide, but
yeah,
what you don't want to happen is to work, and make that bag. But when you come back home, your kids don't know you or your wife don't know you,
that's facts.
and that's something we can get into later because I'll let you talk.
No, but it's true though because and even with that, this idea of needing to provide that it comes along with its own stress,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you provide? And not just provision in terms of finances. Uh, I often ask myself, am I rolling around enough on the floor with my kids? I get a little bit jealous that I don't go to Owen, my son, and start boxing with him, and things of that nature. So even that level of providing, these are things that we are constantly thinking about, and we didn't have that experience. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So 15 years, almost 15 years. How did you manage, bro?
Communication. Communication is key. I truly do see my wife Naomi as my friend. Like we talk about almost everything, unless I'm trying to surprise her and I try not to tell her nothing. But for the most part, yeah, it's communication. The thing for a man to be happy at home, he has to feel safe at home.
Mm,
Feeling safe meaning to be able to come home and talk about the things that are bothering you, talk about your day, talk about um to work, talk about your goals and dreams and aspirations without feeling like you're going to be shut down.
mm,
So your home has to be a safe space.
right.
It has to be like Ann just said, it has to be a safe haven in the chat. It has to be a safe haven. It has to be a place that you could come and be able to actually put your feet up and enjoy a conversation with your spouse, enjoy the time with your kids. Because if your home is not a safe haven, then that stressor that's you done been stressed out by the world, and now you're gonna come home and you're dreading opening that door because that's not a safe space.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been communication, it's been friendship, it's been still being goofy. I mean, if you throw on right now, she'll tell you I'm still a painter, but being goofy, always laughing, always having fun. Because at the end of the day, none of us are gonna make it out of this thing alive, man. So
A pain in her butt trying to get in her gut. Bars. I just, this is why Naomi doesn't want to come on the live because she knows
that's why she'll never come on this live.
she'll never come on the live because that's what I do. And just babe me on the side. She's on the side, bro. Say hi, and the people want to hear your voice. No, they don't. You're doing. Oh, and she just covered her eyes. Naomi just she covered her eyes. Hey, listen, Nayo, you need to pull up on the live. This is why we're doing a live. This is why we're doing a live. So, bro, listen, we're not gonna linger. Why such a passion? Because although you were doing the coaching, and I know just talking, you and I, and just connecting and building, you have a passion for men. Pause. No diddy. Uh, you have a passion. I'm sorry. Do it. I had to do it. You do have a passion for men, especially when it comes in the area of trauma. Why is that?
um, because society has made us feel like we as men, we have to. We all grew up hearing "man up," right? Or if you share your feelings, you're a punk, you're a wuss, and all that stuff. And unfortunately, we took that while we were young and brought it into adulthood.
Mm,
Even right now, as adults, no matter what we're going through in life, especially as men, no matter what we're stressing about, no matter how much pain or depression that we're in, automatically we're taught to, okay, I'm just gonna man up and I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna go about my business and not tell anybody, not speak to my boys about it, not speak to my spouse about it, not speak to friends about it, because as a man, I'm supposed to handle this on my own. That's how we were taught. But yet we're wondering why we have high blood pressure, why we have diabetes, why we have all of these illnesses in our body that happens from within, all because we're not sharing our feelings, or because we're balding up so much energy, so much stress and pain inside of us.
Right, right.
Yeah, we're wondering why we're getting so sick. Or on the flip side, we do share our emotions, but when we do share it, when somebody cut us off and we get mad and hop out the car and start fighting, or
Yeah.
somebody step on our J's, or something not even that meaningful, but because we didn't express all the other feelings, then it now comes out in the most negative
Mm,
way. Or even worse,
come on.
it comes out at home with your spouse, or it comes out on your kids, or it comes out on your loved ones. No matter how much as men we say we're not emotional, trust me, we are emotional, just in the wrong way. No matter
Mm,
how much we try to hold it inside, believe me, we do let it out, but in the wrong way, at the wrong time, to the wrong people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why I'm so emotional about it, because I'm passionate about it because it's what I went through, and that's what I had to grow through, and I had to do that on my own. So I don't want another brother to have to do that on their own. That's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's one time when you and I are talking, uh, where that doesn't come up. In
Mhm.
every single conversation, when I tell you this man over here is the truth when it comes to passion about men and dealing with trauma, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's not just the mental. The trauma that we carry does manifest itself in the physical as well, and what that looks like, right? I was having a conversation with a couple. Shout out to Shiloh every single May, which is a church in New Jersey, every single May for a Haitian church. And it's funny that you mentioned Haitian churches. For a Haitian church, they actually devote the entire month of May for mental health
Mental health
awareness,
month. Yeah, that's
right?
good.
To the point that one Sunday morning, I was a guest preacher in the service, bro,
Good.
in the service. So I had to formulate a sermon around mental health. Um, and it was crazy because I was able to find so much information. I came across pastors and preachers committing suicide. There was a story of a pastor who he sent his wife and his children ahead of him to the
Mhm.
church. They had their own car.
Mhm.
So they went to the church to wait for him. It's time for everything happened, or praise and worship happened. All the formalities happened. I was almost time for the word. Pastor still not in the building.
Mhm.
They did a wellness check only to find him with a self-inflicted bullet in his head in his car.
Yeah.
Right. I think I found at least four different stories of pastors as men who took their own lives dealing with a particular level of mental health trauma or whatever the case may be, right? So
Yeah.
it's not by chance, using your own experience and the passion that you have for this, why you talk so much about it, because society will tell you not to talk about it, right?
Absolutely.
And as Junior just said in the chat, society expect us to be everything except being humans, and not just being humans. I want to add being vulnerable humans, right?
Mhm.
Being vulnerable humans. So it's very important that we are having this conversation. But why do you think society in the past, to a certain degree, still now, why do you think they frown and discourage men to talk about trauma?
Um, there, like in the past, there seems to have been, if you talked about your feelings as a man, if you were expressive, they compared you to a woman,
Mm,
because mostly women are natural nurturers. Women naturally share their feelings and naturally are givers and nurture and whatnot. So if you as a man started sharing your feelings, then all of a sudden you're like, yo, why you acting like a girl?
mm,
So that's what at least in our society and in our world, that's what we grew up with. So if you started being open about how you feel or what you're going through, some people may see it as like, yo, bro, man up, man. Like, oh, you feel that way about shorty? But like it's just, there was always a negative connotation with sharing.
facts.
Always a negative connotation with sharing. And if you overshare anything with your boys, because if you think about it, even most guys, if you're hanging out with your boys and you're going through something, all you're gonna say is, "Yeah, man, me and the old lady's having a problem." Yo. And
Word.
that's about to the extent that you'll talk about it. And
Yeah.
like, word, yo, that's crazy. And then you continue because you don't want to be vulnerable, you don't want to open up because you don't want to be seen as weak.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to show men is that there's strength in vulnerability. Like it takes strength for you to be vulnerable. It takes for you to be strong to open about what you're going through. It takes you to be strong, not to be one of the statistics you just talked about. It's funny. I was just checking a message that I received. I was looking for the name because I didn't want to get it wrong. Grayson Murray, who's a professional golfer, just I think this month or last. Long story short, he was in the middle of a golf tournament and was like, you know what, I gotta drop. I'm going home. I don't feel good. He left the tournament and then nobody heard from him. So when they finally went to check up on him, they found him in his house, self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Crazy, bro. Crazy.
Nope. He was probably perfectly perfectly playing his golf, smiling and laughing and all that stuff. And it's funny because it's the ones who are laughing you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ones who are holding it all together and always have. I was that one. This was how, like, I don't know if you saw one of the posts I posted on my Instagram. Like when I had the biggest smile on my face was when I was going through my worst depression,
Mm.
but nobody would know because we're taught to just, hold it all inside and man up and not show your fear. But if we don't talk about these things, if we stick to what society has kept as the norm,
Hmm.
we're gonna see more men dying of suicide, or more men just suffering from depression, or more men of suffering from illnesses and they don't even know why. And it's really from all the everything's we internalize.
Yeah. 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 But the comment I was making earlier in terms of shallow, I kind of like lost my I lost my own train of thought. It was very interesting to be having this conversation about mental health and trauma
Mm-hmm.
to the elderly. I'm talking about these guys were seniors.
Mm,
I had the 55 and over group, bro, and
that's
probably was the first time,
yeah, that's different.
bro. It's probably the very first time they ever heard anything about that particular. And if Bruno's still here, Bruno's my little bro. His dad was in the group sharing. It was so interesting how involved they were in the conversation. But what's crazy is probably was the first time they were having a conversation about trauma and was able to help them see a lot of the things that they might be feeling right now in terms of their physical health can be connected to the mental,
Yep.
to things that they experienced when they were younger that was never addressed. Uh, I do have I can appreciate what's happening now in
Mhm.
today's age where we are creating this space for the conversation about trauma, but at the same time I'm still seeing a counter on it. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I do agree everything needs to be balanced, right? We need to be resilient at the same time be vulnerable.
Mhm.
But bro, even this idea of promoting vulnerability and
Mhm.
going anti-toxic masculinity, you
Mhm.
still have people who are still against that. Oh, we're creating soft men. You see that in the culture.
Mhm.
uh, I see it a lot in politics.
Mhm.
Politics when I don't go on. I don't mean to go on a political soapbox, but when you're seeing DEIA stuff and things that's creating a space for vulnerability for people to just express what they're feeling, there's still this counter. They saying that we're creating soft children, for lack of better terms, right? There's some way somehow connecting it to the alphabet movement, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like, how are we making that connection? Just because we are asking young men to be vulnerable, to express their feelings, their emotion, their expression, for some reason we are connecting it to not being manly. What are your thoughts on that? The counter that we are still seeing now for the promotion of vulnerability, for the promotion of just talking about trauma.
Well, everybody has their own agenda. Obviously, everybody has an agenda they're trying to push, and I could get into the politics piece. I could get into the, if you keep it the way things are, then young African Americans will continue to lash out and end up getting locked up, and that's more money in the prison system.
Wow.
Talk about if you continue to keep it inside, you start getting sick. There's more money for pharmaceutical. There's so many things we could talk about, but in all honesty, what we really need to talk about is how do we yes, there's all these things being said in the media and all that stuff, but what is the best way for us to heal? Like, so I know you see me wearing this whole diamond cup man thing right here and this logo that I have on. Like, with the thing that I'm looking to do, and I'm hoping others will do as well, just build a community. You don't have to join my community, but build a community, be part of a community where you create a safe space for men to be able to talk, to create a safe space for men to be able to be both vulnerable as well as strong. Because I don't know why or when vulnerability all of a sudden became a weakness. If I sit here and go and hit you up like, yo, Irv, this is what I'm going through right now, man. This is really impacting. This is what I heard. This is how I feel. That's not me being weak. That's me finding the strength within myself to reach out for that help and
Mm.
to be able to get the help I need. So literally, the goal of this community that I'm building as well, and I'm not building by myself. I have others joining as well. Is to create a place where men can embrace authenticity. They can show vulnerability and they can lead with integrity, but have that balance of like a lion-like leadership, but still with a lamb-like compassion. That's exactly what Jesus did.
I love it. Yeah,
Not to get into, to religion, but that's exactly what Jesus did.
I love it.
Why can't you be? Why does it have to be one or? Why can't you be both and? And that's the thing. We have to stop following what society says, what people are saying on social media, what certain agendas that's being pushed out there. Because at the end of the day, you got to make the decision for yourself. What works best for you? What's gonna give you peace of mind? What's gonna bring your family peace of mind? Like I said at the start of this, none of us gonna make this out alive. You know how much, you know how old you are now, you know how much time you already went through in the world, but you don't know how much time you have left in this world.
Yeah,
So, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to live the best life that you have right now, and do that by having peace of mind, by having good mental health, and having good relationships, not only with your friends and loved ones, but as well as with your family, your wife, your spouse, and your kids. And also, if you don't know how to get to that, there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting help, with either getting a coach or getting therapy. Like, there, and I know there's a bit of a stigma in the black community, but now we're starting to actually go to therapy and talk about the things that happened to us in the past, because it's those things that happened to us in the past
yeah.
that are dictating some of the decisions that we're making today, and we don't
That's
even
right.
know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation earlier today with some of my colleagues, some of my teachers.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, my job as a school counselor, I am really, really good at helping kids
Yep.
to work on the surface level things.
Hmm.
My job is to teach skills, how to respond when you're upset at something, how to try to do conflict resolution with your peers, how to exercise impulsivity control, self control, how to manage some of those social emotion regulation, right?
Hmm.
But there is a deeper rooted work that need to be done to help you discover why are you always angry,
Mm.
why do you have a lack of impulse control,
Yeah.
why are you always ready to to just what's the word I'm looking for,
Just lash out.
lash out on
Yeah.
on your girlfriend or your wife. These are, now I could teach you what you to do instead,
Hmm.
but unless you
Root cause.
address the cause of it,
Yeah.
the root of it, the trigger, it's not going to be you're not going to be impactful and effective in using the strategies if we don't try to discover where it's coming from, right?
Yeah.
And so I was explaining to them in the context of, there are a lot of my students, young boys, young black boys, who needs to go because they don't even have the words to express what is causing them to do what they're doing, let alone be able to say why,
Hmm.
right? And so it's very interesting that you talk about therapy, because that's what it is there for. I mean, I love our pastors. Our pastors could pray for us as much as they can, but it's super important for us to go on that discovery. You know what I'm saying? And as Ruthlyn said in the in the chat, let's talk about this a little bit. Why are so many people frowning on therapy, and especially when it comes to men? Men do not go to therapy as much as, I mean, it's being normalized now. But
Hmm.
why do you think this frowning upon therapy is happening, especially when it comes to men?
It's that same it's that same stigma. That same stigma, in my opinion. It's the same stigma of, if first of all, I don't want nobody to know my business.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go to some stranger and tell them how I feel, the stuff I went through. That's number one. And then number two, either even though it might be affordable, A, can afford it, B, the lack of access, or just C, just not wanting to speak to anybody about the things that we're going through in our lives, about the things that happened in the past. Some of the things that happened in the past to us are very traumatic, and maybe we don't want to address it. We don't want to reopen those wounds. What man is willing to sit there and go speak to someone else and say that, hey, when I was young, I was sexually assaulted?
Yeah.
What man want to say that, oh, and that sexual assault happened by a family member that you probably still see every day and act like everything's cool? Because now, if you address it, that means it did happen, but it's easier to just bury it inside.
Mm.
Not even address that at all. What man want to say that, yeah, I was verbally abused, or I was beaten by my parents, even though that's normal in the Haitian community, but there are people that actually got physically beaten to the point where it is abuse.
Mm.
But at what point it's like, okay, now that I'm old enough, I could just bury all that inside and I don't have to address it anymore. And I'm okay, in my opinion, because I buried all that hurt and pain in the past,
Mm.
but not realizing that, like you were just saying about the kids, that switch that comes on when somebody says something that triggers you, it comes from that unresolved pain and healing and trauma and hurt that happened in your past.
Mm.
You thought that you got over it, but it's showing up in other ways. Maybe it's showing up in you not being consistent. Maybe it's showing up in you not communicating right. Maybe you showing up and having it's showing up by you having a short temper. All of these things is because of that unsolved feeling. But yeah, from a man perspective, in my opinion, it's a matter of, I don't want to open up myself and be vulnerable to a complete stranger.
Yeah.
But for healing to happen, you got to address these things that happened to you in the past. You
But
got.
even as you mentioned, the burying thing, when it comes to trauma, y'all, we could bury as many dead bodies as we want in the traditional sense of burying bodies.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to trauma, that stuff resurfaces.
Resurfaces
It
every.
resurfaces if it's not addressed, if it's not dealt with. That's
Yep.
one aspect of burying things that does not stay buried. Because some
Right.
way, somehow, it will come out. It will lash out in some unhealthy ways,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it is. And what I want people to understand is, when it comes to trauma, trauma is just like it's an emotional response to events that happen in your life, um, that overwhelm your ability to cope,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's when the resurfacing is gonna come about because you cannot cope with it. So whatever that thing was is going to resurface, is going to manifest. And the more you try to hold it in, the unhealthier it becomes. And that's when that physical reaction starts to happen.
Yep.
That's when the years start coming off your life, as people would say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
So
you mentioned earlier about your own trauma and how that even led to depression. If you feel comfortable, talk about that just a little bit, and then what brought you to this space or where you are now, where you sought help or whatever your healing process was, bro.
how much time we got?
Go ahead.
It's a long story. It's a
We need,
long
we need to deliver some people tonight, and I need you guys to share this live. Those who are just coming in, I know the counter went up, so it should mean you're just getting here. We're having a men talk on mental health tonight, and I'm here with my brother Shad, and we definitely want to make sure that somebody's being delivered tonight, not literally like we're going to lay hands on you and start speaking in tongue, but just bringing awareness to a topic that leads to action. That's deliverance, right? So go ahead, bro.
oh gosh, where do I start? I mean, I'll give you a high level. I was born in Haiti. Born in Haiti, raised by poor, poor mom and pops. Um, we all lived in a mud hut, essentially, literally mud hut. As in, when it rained hard enough, my father had to go outside and put the house back together.
Oh my
So
God.
a literal mud hut. Things didn't work out between them. Long story short, eventually emigrated to the United States, not even speaking a lick of English. Um, I remember my first day in school. All I knew was which bus stop to go to, but not which bus to get on. In the middle of September in the early '90s, I didn't speak a lick of English, freezing my tail off with a short sleeve and shorts on, and hopping on the wrong bus and going to the wrong school, man. But I mean, for me, it started from Haiti. It started with a lot of the trauma, as far as from a family being raised Haitian perspective, was being told that I was a mistake. My whole life being told I was a mistake because in Haiti, I was the oops child,
Wow.
the child that was wanted. And in that time, there were no abortion clinics in Haiti. So you know, they mom Deuce and pops was like, listen, we're very poor, things are going on. So did everything they could to try to get rid of the baby, but apparently I was a stubborn child. So I still hear. So grew up with most of my life hearing that I was a mistake. Um Gosh, so many things I could draw on, but I want to stay on
Did
that.
they intentionally was telling you that, or more like as a testimonial? I'm trying to understand why would they want to remind you of that?
I want you to understand though, our Haitian parents, for my Caribbean folks, I'm gonna say Haitian because I'm Haitian. For my Caribbean folks, um, our parents went through their own trauma and never dealt with it. So to them, what they're saying wasn't hurting. It was just like, oh yeah, you was the mistake. You was a child that I didn't want. Trust me, we did everything we could to get rid of you.
Oh my.
But and what's funny is it wasn't to them, it wasn't nothing traumatic or impactful. But and I always thought that I got over that. Like, oh, okay, you said I'm a mistake. Fine, I'm gonna do all I can to make sure I'm successful and do all the things that to show you that I'm worthy. It honestly wasn't until probably a few months ago I realized that even though I thought I was over it, that there was still a lack of value in myself based on being told that all the time. Now, if you talk to my mom today, she'll tell you I'm the best mistake she's ever made. Because I
And
help.
she'll probably said just like that too.
I'm serious, verbatim. You're the best mistake I've ever made. Had I known that you're going to be such a great child, I would have had more mistakes. I'm like, that's not a compliment, but
Man, that's crazy.
but what's crazy though, and I just realized that, and this is just I'm just dealing with one thing in the interest of time because I see some questions coming in the
Yeah.
comments. But what's crazy is I thought I got over that. I'm like, okay, whatever. You call me a mistake. I was able to be very successful in corporate America. I have an amazing family, this is that and the third. But I never realized that I was still holding that trauma when it came to valuing myself, when it came to fully understand what I'm valuing, because it's like, why am I sitting here thinking what others are doing are much better than me, even though yet every corporate room I walk in, they're telling me how great of a job I'm doing. Or, most of my friends or people that know me would say that I'm successful, but in my mind, I feel like I still had something to prove. And it's
Mhm.
because of that unresolved trauma. So that like a lot and to close it out, one of the things I realized, and I had to forgive my mom for this, because once I learned about her childhood,
Mm.
once I learned about all the stuff that she went through and she had to survive, I'm like, okay, now I understand. But I had to go and get that own healing for myself. I had to get that healing for myself and be able to love her for who she is based on what I know. So and I say that because I've spoken to a lot of my fellow Haitians who have parents till this day are still the same way, and you don't realize that it is a form of trauma you're dealing with your whole life.
Mhm.
But literally is you have to understand that they're loving you the best way they think that they're doing, and you have to heal yourself in order for you to truly be able to operate in a place where you could accept them for who they are, but not let them impact you anymore in life. Like let's put it like this: there is gonna be a book coming out about my life, because the last 42 years has been quite a journey, and I thank God that when I actually considered taking my life, that I did not do it, because I did not see myself today that I'll be on with Irv, encouraging other people that there is a better way out there, that there is a way that you can get out from under all of the stress that you're going on. There is help available. That it is okay for you to talk about the stuff you went through, and it is okay for you to find a safe space with someone you trust to talk about. But yeah, man, it's been a long journey.
Stories like this, people like to tell, people like to say, the Lord allow you to go through certain things to be
Yeah,
a testimony or something for like, Lord, you could have given me the download a different way. You didn't have to.
bro.
I didn't need to go through that experience to be able to help somebody. You could just
Could
tell
have
me
gave him
what
the
to
cliff
say.
lord. Could have gave him the cliff lord. The
Right?
cliff
Give me the cliff
lord.
notes. I ain't gotta experience it. You know what I'm saying? The
But you
Lord,
know what's funny though? It's because I went through that and survived that I can talk right now. I actually
yeah.
had a close friend that did reach out and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm ready to end it." Like they said that they wanted to commit suicide, and I had to had a conversation with this person and said, "Listen, obviously you value me and my wife enough that you would reach out and tell us, because that's your way of saying goodbye. But have I been any value to you in all the friendships and all the time we've been pouring into? It's like, oh yes, you've been amazing. This has nothing to do. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, great. But you do realize that had I made the decision that you're thinking about making, I would not have been here today to be that servant
Mm.
to you. to
Mhm.
be able to pour into you. So don't make a permanent decision off of a temporary situation, because all of these things that are happening in our lives are all temporary.
Mm.
It's really a matter of realizing that, like all things in this life, this too shall pass. But you just have to be strong enough and be able to get through it and seek the help that you need.
Right.
I'm sorry, when it comes to the suicide stuff, it hits home. So that's why I wanted to
Uh,
put that out there.
Yeah, you know, I hear you, bro. I'll go to the question I was asked early, real quick. Ruflin asked, I have a question as a single mom. How do we help our sons we can't relate to, or the son says you're not a man, you won't understand? How do we help?
Outside of getting them therapy, preferably by a male therapist, who are the men in their lives? Who are their uncles? Who are their cousins? Who are the men of the church? Which we spoke about the church earlier. I wish more church did what Shiloh was doing. But who are the men in their lives? Like, yeah, they may not be able to see you as someone that could understand what they're going through as a young boy growing up, or as a young man, or as a man. But that's when the community will be helpful. There's
Mm,
a community of men that can surround them, that could pour into them. And just look at your circle. And it has to be somebody you trust, somebody that you know would be a positive impact on your son, and have them go and reach out to that person. If you don't have that community, or you don't have that uncle, that friend, listen, sign up for, go to gcventures.com, put your email information in there. And as soon as my community becomes available, because I'm going to make sure that community is full of positive men to pour into others. Soon as a community is available, I will gladly send you a link, and he could be the first one that's in our community. And we'll have a community of positive men and strong men, diamond cut men who are ready to pour into him and make sure that he's able to grow. But
yeah,
yeah, welcome, Ruthleen.
yeah, yeah. And also the beautiful thing about this also, I love the name of your company, right? Your company is called Mud Hut to Millionaires.
Correct.
Oh, that's one of your entities, of the parent company. Is
Right.
because you're coming from the mud hut, like you literally lived in a mud hut
Literally. Yep.
to now to having a trajectory where not only you trying to make yourself better, in the context of finance and wealth and what's the thing when you pass it down to your kids, generational wealth and all that other good stuff,
Legacy. Legacy.
but there's a figurative trajectory as well. The mud hut as it relates to your mental health, to your feelings, to depression, to PTSD, to becoming a millionaire in the area of mental health. Right.
Yeah.
So there's that transition that we must always be on. Um, and Ruflin, also the best thing you can also do for your son in terms of as the mom is just continue to reassure him that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to reassure him that you're here, that you love him, in spite of what the that need, in spite of the behavior that need is creating.
Mm-hmm.
uh, in As you're holding him accountable, as you are being mom, just also keep encouraging him that you're here, that you love him. And oftentimes, I know for me and my mom, it didn't come natural, but
Mm-hmm.
you just have to force it and be intentional about letting them know that you're here and that you care.
Absolutely.
Anne had a question. She said, "What are some questions we can ask the men in our lives to get them to open up and speak?" Well, before we even say that,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also important that we are letting you women or anybody in these men's lives, you have to make sure they feel secured,
That's the first thing I was gonna say.
because you cannot throw that back in their face, or when they're being vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
it's some kind of countering of what is being expressed, right? And so I think I'm not a big fan of this guy, not at all. The guy who that pastor who shushed that lady. He went viral for shushing that lady who was having a moment. Pastor Keon,
Mm-hmm.
he said something, and it was a lot of truth. Once you ask a man to open up,
Mm-hmm.
and you do something to counter that, he's gonna shut down and never open up. It might never open up again.
Absolutely. 1,000%. Does he feel safe? Like it. Have you, as the woman in his life, created a safe space for him to be able to open up? And not only be able to open up, to not feel judged, and know that the moment you get into an argument again, you're not going to throw that back in his face. Because men are already slow to open up. So if they open up and you ask a question and then that comes back up again in a negative way, then that is absolutely the last time he'll ever open up, because that trust is broken.
Mm.
And while, yes, they say that women are more emotional, but nothing hurts a man more than that broken trust, and he will shut down. So to answer your question, and what are some of the questions you can ask men in your lives to have them open up and speak up? First and foremost, create a safe space for them to be able to be vulnerable with you first.
Mm-hmm.
Once you create that safe space that they can be vulnerable, that they can trust you with their feelings, with their thoughts, with their opinions, then they know that, okay, if she asks a question, I don't have to just say, oh no, I'm okay, I'm good. And if you do ask a question, the response is, I'm okay, I'm good, and you create a safe space, then the follow-up question is, okay, what do you mean? How do you feel?
Mm.
And then why do you feel that way? Like, what's the root cause? Like, those are the questions. But I mean, Irv, you hit the nail on the head. The first things first is there a safe space that man feel comfortable to be able to trust you with his pain and trust you with his hurt? Because he can't trust anybody outside of society with that. He can't open up to anybody else. So ideally, coming home to you should be where he's able to open up and speak about these things. Step zero before step one of that question is create a safe space for your husband, your brother, your son, your uncle, whoever that man is in your life, and create a safe space for them to feel like they can open up and speak.
Yeah, and I will also say asking questions such as, "How can I help? How can I just be there for you?" Now, I think it's also important for us, even as men, that we especially if the issue or the matter is with your partner who's asking that question. I think we want to be vulnerable, we want to be open, we want to be honest, but also it's very important for us to be wise, right? Be wise in our conversation, even as we are being truthful and honest. I could do a whole shameless plug again. We have a lot of things coming up for you guys that you really definitely want to make sure that you are joining gcventures.org, join the mailing list, because there's this thing that we talk about when come to communication. You have to be able to use I statements versus you statements,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
I statements versus you statements. If you want to know more about what that is, sign up, get your email address in that, and I'll be able to teach you because I use it so much. We'll be able to teach you the strategy about how to express yourself
mhm,
using I statement versus you statement. I statement is a matter of expressing feelings and emotions that need to be validated. You statements are more about being accusatory.
mhm,
Nobody want to sit there and be accused.
mhm,
You want a safe space, yes, but are you badgering and beating up this particular person using you statements? So it's very important also, in addition to creating the safe space, we are also learning how we are communicating these needs, these wants, these desires,
mhm.
these desires to each other. There's a comment on IG. Um, Maybe a question we as women can ask is there anything I can do to create the safe space for you to open up to me? That's from your wife, Shad, on IG. Nail, come on the live real quick.
She ain't gonna come in the line. Oh,
What she
hold
said?
on a second. Hold on.
She's gonna come on the live?
Yes, sir.
No way.
Come on down.
Let me get my dirty thought questions ready to do my.
She will leave immediately.
Hey guys.
Hi Nail. This is
Hi.
Shad's wife, guys.
Yeah.
Show some love.
Say hi, Ann. Oh gosh.
Ann is here too.
She's sitting right next to me this whole time.
Ann, c'est ma win, Ann.
All right, get out of here now. Bye. Bye.
So I'm trying to get the kids to bed. No, but I was saying I think that was one of the things that really helped with us.
Mhm,
Um, Me thinking in my head what I thought his safe space was,
Mm,
and then when we finally actually had the real conversation, I was just like, oh, so what I'm doing is really not
what
it.
you thought? Yeah.
That's what I thought. I'm not a mind reader. So, as women, I know a lot of us sometimes we're like, well, he won't open up to me. He won't tell me what's going on. But we feel the
The
energy.
energy and the tension.
We feel the
Yeah.
tension. So we know you lying when you're telling me you're good. So I think after I had that conversation and I sat there and listened to his truth, about how I can create the safe space, I had to get out of myself and create it for him.
I
So
love it. I love it.
really
That's
open it
helped.
up for us.
Yeah.
Good job, Nayo. We're gonna do a full thing with you
On the
on
live.
it.
All right, I'm gonna say bye to everyone. Hey, you guys.
On that note, I'm out. She said, on that note, I'm out.
She said, "Yeah."
I gotta put these kids to
grand,
bed.
grand opening, grand closing.
You're getting some love to Naomi. Ruthlyn and Miranda were saying hello to you. And
Yeah.
somebody say that's pretty good. Somebody say that's good. Erna say that's good what you just shared.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
See,
Good
girl, you gotta get you on the live, all right?
Live.
All right, we're gonna arrange it, okay?
All right, it's not that scary. Uh
It depends on
no,
what you say, Irv.
and it's crazy. Lately, Ann could tell you, I've been finding myself in this particular phase too, where I'm expressing needs and wants, which before I did not.
Did not. Yeah.
And the other day, I want to say 2 days ago, it was foreign to Ann, so she didn't know how to express it.
Mhm.
And I felt as if even though I was expressing to her needs, which is something she's been encouraging me to do, I still felt like she was saying,
Awkward.
I hear what you're saying, but oh my god, that but was throwing me off. Because at this point I'm expressing something to you, and especially had to do with my own vulnerability, my no, my own inability. I feel like I was not able, I was not really good in doing something,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then I felt like you're telling me, well, you did it before, right? So she literally said something like that to me. Well, you were doing it before, but you don't, maybe it wasn't natural for me, and it's still not natural now. And I felt like, and we talked about it, and she understand. That's a good thing about the great thing about Ann and I when it talking about safe space, we ensure that nothing is off limit.
Mm.
We do this thing where we don't belittle feelings.
Hmm.
So whenever I feel like my feelings being belittled, especially I was never truly an expressive person. I feel like for some reason I'm in a season right now where I am. And so it was always so we're still working on how that could be. My little bro Kev said men are action based, so your action must match your words. I'm assuming Kev, you're referring to the action in creating that safe space as well. So the way you react or act, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, little bro. If not, clarify for me. I keep calling little bro because Kev, I'm gonna put you on blast. I should have you on this live tonight. So Kev, you reach out to me. I become like a mentor to him out of the blue. Just the way I live my life. He see what I like your Irv. I want you, and then we've been linking up and talking about different things. Um, I think there are things he shares with me that I don't know if he's ever really shared with other people.
That's good.
So that's a young man right there. I want to say he's breaking the mold.
Yep.
He's reaching out. He's
Yep.
talking to older OGs. Like I'm an OG.
You're
Damn,
an OG. You got more grades than I do.
that's crazy. So he is talking to the OGs because he want to break the cycle that he saw in his family. So I really commend him for that. And whenever he call, I'm always there because it's always his treat.
Hmm.
I treated the other night though, but let's see. Junior said, I think the decision is ours to choose to open up. And once we are ready, we'll create that space to let you in. I want to talk about that though. I want to talk about that. Shad and everybody else was listening to this, and even Ann sitting next to me. Those men who are so stuck in like, I'm not gonna express myself. I'm not there. I'm not used to this. This is foreign to me.
Hmm.
Huh? This is who I am. And how would we counsel the women in their lives who know there's something there?
Well, it's
They
not.
are trying to be they are trying to be present. They trying to be that space. Talk to me, but he just won't. And I feel like Junior's question triggered that. Once we're ready, how do we, the women, what do we tell the women in the meantime? Like, okay, you're not ready. This is impacting us. It's impacting our relationship because you're not opening up to me. We can't put a timeline on it. So why do we tell them
I mean, you need to put a timeline to it, but the thing is the
and say leave them?
really, Anne.
Leave them. No, I'm not gonna hold you, chat. Don't forget what you're gonna say. Ann and I, we did a content video on YouTube. I don't know if it was a content or a live where we were talking. I don't think we did it yet. We were talking about, can you handle being with somebody with trauma? If
Mm,
you cannot do it,
that's true.
should you be with someone that you, yeah, should you be with someone with known trauma? That was a one the quick hit video that we did. Should you be with someone with known unresolved trauma with the hope that they'll find treatment and overcome? But go ahead, bro. Let's talk about what Junior was talking about in terms of that resistance. How do we deal with it?
That I mean, to the last point, should you be with someone who has experienced trauma? I just want to say one quick thing about that, and it's I remember I know Dr. Reverend A.R. Bernard said it, and I don't know if he got it from someone else, but I know he said that the best thing that anyone could bring into any relationship is a complete and whole self, a
Mm,
healed and whole self, because relationships, contrary to popular demand, is not 50-50. It's 100-100.
100, yeah.
Because there's days when Anne is probably not able to give 100 and you have to give 150, or there's days when you only could only give 20 and she has to give 180. So it's never 50-50. So if you come in and you're already hurt, you already have pain, you already have trauma and things that are unresolved, and unfortunately you look for your partner to resolve them for you, then you're always going to have that empty space in your life,
Yeah.
because you as an unfulfilled person is looking for another unfulfilled person, another hurt person that's also going to try to help you heal. So that was just to that point. But to what Junior was saying, wait, let me go back to his comment real quick.
Yeah, but we're getting some yes, yes, yes for what you just recapped from Pastor Bernard.
Yeah, that was an amazing sermon. I took a lot of notes. So I'm not even gonna try to say that's all mine. That's definitely Dr. A.R. Bernard.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, yes, like it is ours to choose to open up and when we're ready. But the thing is, for men, I said the first part of that is, have we are we dealing with, or have we dealt with what has happened in our lives to cause us to have whatever emotions that our significant other is seeing that are questioning? Because it's one thing to say, yeah, when we're ready, we'll open up and let you into that space. But also, do we even know the root cause? Because a lot of our reactions are just, it's the symptoms of something that happened to us in the past.
Right.
Step one would be, what is the root cause of your pain? And then once you've dealt with it and you fully understand it and you trust your partner enough, and I guess this is the second point to what Junior was saying, you trust your partner enough, then yeah, you'll be comfortable enough to allow him into that space of, here's what's hurting me, here's what's the pain, here's what's causing me to react the way I'm reacting. But I think it does, at least from the man's perspective, and in my opinion, is you have to actually know and identify the root cause. Because some of the things I tell some of the men I coach is that there's three things I want you to do, at least a minimum of three. One, go through your life and write out all of the traumatic things that's happened to you, big, small, or indifferent. Write them down. Don't think about it. Don't try to process. Write them down first, and then after you write them down, you identify what they are. Then you start to, okay, how did this make me feel? How did this impact me? What has this caused in my life? What has that thing that happened to me today subconsciously is causing me to act a certain way that I didn't even know about?
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you don't identify it, and if you don't know how it's impacting you, then you're not going to really know why you act certain ways, or why you react to certain things, or why that you do the things you do, because there's a lot of unresolved things that happened to you in your past that you never dug up.
Right.
If you've been yelled at a lot by your parents, or your parents are very strict or they're beating you, you're not gonna do well with a spouse who want to set structure in your life and in your marriage and in your home, because you feel like you're being restricted like you were as a child, and you're gonna rebel against it. It's gonna be hard for you to try to open up to that person and talk to them if you feel like they're doing something that you fought against and left in your past.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good, bro. And the Anne also mentioned she had a question. Say, what are some signs a man can look for to know when he is not in a good mental space?
What are the signs? So I'll speak for myself, and I'll give a perfect example. So I spoke about my relationship in the past with my mom, and I know when I got married, there's times when that phone rang and I saw the name, and automatically like the chest started tightening up,
Mm,
or when I got off the phone, I was yelling at the kids, or I was having an attitude with my wife. So I knew right then and there, like, okay, this is not healthy.
Right.
This is definitely not healthy. That's something I had to deal with. So that's the one sign. If you have a physical reaction to something that triggers you, then you know that's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm gonna give you, and this could be a homework to all the men that are listening right now. I know for me, when I knew I actually needed help and I actually needed therapy, is when I looked in the mirror and I looked at the reflection and I could not look myself in the eye and say the words "I love you."
Mm.
When I realized I couldn't do that, I'm like, okay, yeah, something's something's not right. It's like
Wow.
like once I realized I couldn't do
Crazy enough, I look at myself every day in the mirror like, I love you, dude. I'm a little, I'm a little
good,
conceited.
good, good for you. I'm happy for you. But there are some of us that could, bro. All jokes aside, when I couldn't do that, I knew there was something wrong within, and that I had to get that resolved. But yeah. So to answer your questions, as a man, do you have a physical reaction to certain things? Do
Mm,
certain things make you either close up? If you are an expressive person, all of a sudden something happened, you close up a little bit.
mm,
Or if certain places, people, conversations, or things brings you back to a place in your life where you were not happy or it caused you any kind of pain, those are the things that you might need to be addressed. Which is why I say step one is identify those traumas, identify those triggers. And someone said in the comments it might be generational. Yeah, there may be things that happen, especially in the Caribbean household and Haitian households. There are things that happen that are generational that we do need to address.
yeah. And Miranda said something that was pretty powerful too. Not being able to express yourself isn't the issue, but not having a plan of action to address your issues is a bigger problem. Because the thing about it, when it comes to healing, you cannot just stop at awareness.
Yep,
You cannot just stop at awareness. There has to be actionable steps
that's
to
right.
address the issue, because it's just going to be stuck at wishful thinking. And last time I checked, wishful thinking never manifested any tangible outcome,
Tangible results. Yeah.
right? And
But
so I think it's super important that we are being mindful about some of those things. And going back to Ann's question as well, Shad, you talk about the physical response that you have to trauma, but also let's not forget about the cognitive responses too that takes place,
mm-hmm,
right? And these are thoughts that come in your mind, different memories. So all of these things are also something a sign of awareness that there's something is wrong, that I need to address whatever it is.
yeah,
Behavior responses,
yeah,
and in this particular example, we're talking about this is where people behave different ways, and for a lot of people it's turning into drugs and alcohol,
mm-hmm. That's
right?
your
So
coping mechanism. Yeah,
yeah, if you find yourself engaging in some bad behavior choices as it relates to a certain trigger or a certain individual or a certain
yeah,
situation that you are remembering, I think that's also a sign that you have to take the actionable steps
absolutely,
to address that trauma, right? So
absolutely.
yeah, so it's super super important. And again, I want us all to embrace our traumas and not just think of it in terms of levels, right? This
Yeah,
person who was cussed out by their parents daily when they were younger
mm-hmm.
versus this person who was sexually abused or physically
That's
abused.
trauma.
It could
Yeah,
be everything and anything in that spectrum, right?
yeah, trauma's trauma.
Right, that kid was called dumb growing up by
Mm-hmm.
parents and teachers, and now they see themselves as being dumb. Looking at the mirror, they just see a dumb person, a dumb individual. So, um, and again, we are focusing on men because I'm not saying that men has it the worst, but it's because men, we are living in a society that tells us we're not supposed to address these things.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And as we don't address these things, we are now bringing them to our relationships. We
mm-hmm.
are bringing it to our marriages. We are passing it down to our
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
And the cycle
Repeats.
continues. It's like continuous cycle
Yeah,
until somebody like my little bro Kev, for example, yo, Irv, I want to talk to an OG. Whereas maybe dad or granddad or the person before that wouldn't have done it. So now his son, seeing
great.
that dad reach out to help for to just become a better
Mhm.
person, a better man, he's benefiting his son, So the cycle is being broken.
Yeah, yeah, he's breaking the cycle, and now there's a lot of probably generational trauma and things that are happening that are passed down that now that his son or his daughter or his children doesn't have to deal with.
Facts.
You definitely hit something really important when you said that it doesn't matter. There's no comparison in your trauma. There's no comparison of what's big or what's small. Trauma is trauma. I remember, and I'll tell a short story just to tie it all together. I remember I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro back in 2022, and going up that mountain, I had my day pack, which just had just my daily stuff, my rain jacket, my snacks, change of clothes, etc. While there was people behind me that there were the porters who were helping us. They in turn are carrying our extra bags. They're carrying tables. They're carrying chairs. They're carrying all of these other essentials. So that and they're trying to get ahead of us to go to the camp before us to go ahead and set up the tents and set up the food and all that stuff. So all of us going up the same mountain, but
Mm.
each of us have a different set of weight. And what's funny is me with my light backpack was struggling going up the mountain at times. Somebody that has a table, chairs, and a bunch of food was going past me, waving at me, smiling at me, and encouraging me.
Yeah.
So in life, we all are going through our traumas. We all are going through life with our own baggage. But just because somebody else has a smaller bag than my own bag, it does not mean that theirs is less important or less hurtful than mine is. So we're all climbing up the same mountain, but at the end of the day, don't compare. Comparison is the biggest thief of joy there is. So definitely do not compare. Like trauma is trauma, whatever it is that you are going through or that you went through that is impacting you, deal with it. I give you guys 3 steps already. Take
Mhm.
inventory, write it down, write it anything and everything you could think about. Write it down that you've went through, big, small, or indifferent. If it impacted you in any way, shape, or form, write it down. Number two, how did those things make you feel? How did it impact you? What is it that at the time that it happened that you interpreted and you're probably still carrying that interpretation now in the ways that you deal with other people and with loved ones and friends? And number three, heal from it. How do you move on from it?
Mm.
If it's not gonna help you in the future, find a
Yeah.
way to let it go. And
Yep.
there's ways and different coping for that. I
Man.
just want to tie that back in.
So much jewels, so much gem. I want to share this as we're near our close. Trauma affects a man's mental health. I'm just gonna read it verbatim. I'm not taking credit for it. I found this in the article.
Hmm.
Unresolved trauma can lead to developing depression or anxiety. It can
Hmm.
also worsen the symptoms of these conditions when left untreated. Men can feel powerless and struggle with maintaining healthy relationships and their self esteem. What's funny about that, society will tell you the opposite. You're
Mm-hmm.
powerful and you don't struggle, but in reality, we are powerless and struggle to maintain healthy relationships and their self esteem. They
Hmm.
may feel their identity has been shaped and set in stone by the traumatic event. In other words, you're a clown, you're this, you're that, you're an accident, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so they may feel their identity has been shaped and set in stone by a traumatic event. As they replay it in their minds, coping may be more and more difficult. The inability to cope with their feelings can lead to impaired judgment and
Hmm.
pave the way for unhealthy behaviors, including drinking, drug use, or other risky behaviors. They
Hmm.
may find living independently becomes a challenge too, and rely on family members or friends as a resource for money, favors, and even a place to live. So,
Hmm.
for those men who are not even willing to leave the nest at a certain age, what
Hmm.
unresolved, unless you're just saving up for big goals, what
Hmm.
unresolved traumas is causing you to not be able to even be independent? Right? So it is super imperative that we are addressing these things.
Hmm.
Nail just wrote on Instagram, "Our trauma is not our fault." Ooh, I
Uh,
love this.
that's
Our
yeah,
trauma is not our fault, but healing is
it's
our
our responsibility.
responsibility. Let
Yeah.
me say it again. Our trauma is not our fault, but
Hmm.
our healing is our responsibility.
Absolutely. And
Like,
that's the bedrock of our coaching program. Like it's your responsibility. What happened to you when you were young, the abuse, the physical, mental, verbal, sexual abuse, that wasn't your fault. But your healing is absolutely your responsibility.
We have another question real quick. I'll take it, Ruthlin. Thank you, Ruthlin, for always coming. Ruthlin, I think she's been here every week. Every week. Shout out to you, sis. Thank you.
Looking
How
for
do we
the
undo or bring correction to the new trauma we caused when we threw your vulnerability in your face? I think she's asking in terms of when, as a man, you're becoming vulnerable, or you're being vulnerable to your woman, and then that caused new trauma in itself because now you threw it in our face, but we're not aware of our actions at the time. I think ultimately, not to oversimplify it, taking ownership and
ownership.
accountability. I think in and I, one thing that we talk about a lot, Ruthland, is intentions, right?
Mhm.
I think you have to know your person enough. It's hard, especially if you're in your feelings, even though you might know their intention. A hurt is a hurt, right? But
Yep.
knowing your person's intention and who they are,
Yeah.
and to understand that was not what they meant. I think genuine apology and intentionality and not repeating it goes a very long way, because the true apology is change behavior.
Yep. There you go.
So you can't keep doing it all the time. You can't
Yeah.
keep doing it all the time. If you truly are apologetic, show it with your actions.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. Don't expect a quick turnaround to trusting, because that broken trust right there is like taking all the toothpaste out of the tube
Yeah,
and
the
then trying to put it all
put
back in
it back in there.
perfectly. Yeah. It's
And
not.
yeah, and also the other analogy, bro. If you take a piece of paper, you crumpled it up, you could reopen it. It's still wrinkled.
Never the same. Yeah.
Get rid of those wrinkles.
It's never the same. Yeah. So it's not gonna be the same, and it's
Yeah.
gonna take a while for that person to build that trust and to be willing to be vulnerable. But
Right.
as Irv said, step one is to like, hey, I recognize what I did. What apologies, and just giving that person the time and space for them to build that trust up again. But
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
expect it to be overnight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, we could be here all night.
Oh, bro, I mean, we're just scratching the surface right now.
Really good, guys. Listen, this this live will stay on our YouTube page. It is super imperative that
Mhm.
you share this live with a man in your life. It's gonna be, if you're on YouTube right now, you're already on the page, right? So make sure you subscribe, turn the notification bell. But I want you guys to really take this live. Obviously, it's not super long. It flow. Send it to a man that you know is dealing with trauma. Tell him, just watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this. They were not here tonight, but nonetheless, the live, even if they're not dealing with trauma, how to deal with it when it shows up his face. The women
Yeah.
might be dealing with people who have trauma, who have their own trauma. I think it's very, this conversation, bro, was transferable to regardless of where you are. So I definitely want to make sure you guys copy and share this live with somebody. Um, if you're already on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and copy the link and share it with someone. Say, hey, watch this replay. I think it has to be processed first once we get off. I think it's saved
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah. It takes a while.
It takes a while. This is really literally a few minutes. So come back to the page and copy, share it with somebody so they could see it from the very beginning, from the very top.
Mm.
Because we definitely want to free some people uh, who are dealing with this situation. And also, like I kept saying, putting up all night, definitely want to make sure we want to go more in depth with some of these things. We are working on something super special, inclusive, and intimate for the month of June. And the way you're gonna get the information, we want to truly get it first. And because please, when we talk about exclusive and small and intimate, we're not trying to have 50, 60 people on it. You lose that connection where you're able to actually talk with us. So make sure you go ahead and join our mailing list by going to gcventures .org, which is the website for all things Garcon Collective. Love Talks is under the umbrella of Garcon Collective, but going to be using that mailing list to communicate everything that we have going on and coming up. So join our mailing list, guys, for all the exclusive stuff that we have coming up for you guys, and you will not regret it. All right. So on that note, I want to thank my bro, Shad, for coming on. Be on the lookout for his things as well in this area of coaching. Shad, what is the handle again?
Oh, I motivate us. IMOTIV, the number 8 US.
Yeah,
I
follow
motivate
Shad.
myself as well.
Yeah, and
And
I go
go
ahead.
ahead. I want to do something for your viewers, man. I want to do something special for your viewers because this is a very important topic. And we could figure out how we're gonna get it out there. But I do have a 30-day journal for men who wants to know how to better deal with the trauma, that wants to know how to become a Diamond Cup man. So I mean, listen, if you
Got to join that mailing list.
join the mailing list, number one, you have to be on the mailing list. Number two, you have to share this live with someone on social media and tag at least 3 people.
Yeah,
Liv and Ann will choose the winner, and once they do, I will share with them the Diamond Cut Man 30-day journal dealing with trauma. I'll share that with you. And there's so much more things that are coming. I mean, I was gonna offer the assessment, but I think for now that the assessment will be for those who join.
we can't give them too much.
Yeah, the assessment will be for those who join the webinar. And trust me, the assessment will change your life, will change
We took it.
relationships.
We
Yeah,
took
Urban
it,
and
but
took, and we could do another live to talk about it.
yeah,
But I do want to do something for those that are listening live right now. If you join the mailing list, if you go ahead and share this and tag at least 3 people, and an Irv will choose a winner, and I will share with you that Diamond Cut Man 30-day journal of dealing with trauma.
yeah, man. And when you tag your people, when you share it, tag us. I'd love to talk to the Garcons. That way we're able to see that you did it.
Yeah,
I'll obviously will see it when you join the mailing list, but just tag us so we get this to you. We want to free people up. We want to free people up, and our reach goes as far as you helping us.
absolutely.
This is yes, it's a venture for in and Irv. We are stepping out and doing this thing, but ultimately the goal is to help people. So
Absolutely.
our reach goes as far as you're able to reach us. Don't leave whatever platform you're watching on without following or hitting that subscription. Once again, thank you guys for pulling up. Thank you, my bro. This was a great one. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you, Neo, who's still watching, for holding down the kids. And thank you, Boo, for being on the sideline, just watching me. She looking at me thirsty. She looking at me thirsty. I gotta give her something to drink. Yo, guys, don't forget to share this live with at least 5 people and follow the steps to get the free journal that Chad was talking about.
Yep.
And again, join that mailing list. Let's grow this community together. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, have a great night. One love.
Peace.